prosecution says it found 1 million tweets posted by NIS employees during last year's presidential election. North Korea claims it has arrested a South Korean spy, but the detainee's family says he's just a missionary, and they want Seoul to help bring him back. And renowned traditional painter Hong Chang-won faces investigation for his involvement in the shoddy restoration of Sungnaemun Gate. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Thursday, November 21st. I'm Luke Clary. In the latest development in the investigation into the National Intelligence Service's involvement in last year's presidential election, the prosecution says it found 1 million tweets posted by NIS employees.
The Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office's Special Investigation Team, probing the NIS political involvement, submitted an application to the Seoul Central District Court to change the arrangement against ex-NIS chief Won Se-hoon. The prosecution is known to have obtained 1 million additional Twitter postings written by NIS employees about last year's presidential campaign and other political issues. Out of the many comments, half of them were about the last presidential election and the rest about local elections. The prosecution came to discover the additional Twitter postings after questioning roughly 10 members of the NIS psychological warfare team and obtaining analysis results from a Twitter comment analyzer. In response, the NIS claimed that most of the million postings were not put up by NIS employees, accusing the prosecution of having conducted improper investigations or have made exaggerated allegations. The NIS said a large percentage of the prosecution's evidence of 50,000 Twitter comments presented at the first arrangement change on November 4th was found to have been written by ordinary citizens. The nation's spy agency vowed to thoroughly examine the latest online discoveries as well.
North Korea claims it arrested a South Korean spy on November 7th. Family and friends of the detainee say he's just a missionary, not a government operative. They're appealing to Seoul to help bring him back home.
In a house in Dandong, China in 2010, a spectacled man was holding a religious meeting with North Koreans. His name is JongKook, a missionary who has been operating a shelter for North Koreans in Dandong for 6 years. He also runs a noodle factory to support North Korean people. Upon the news that the North Koreans who had stayed at his shelter were arrested after they returned to North Korea, he went to the north alone around October 7th. On November 7th, North Korean authorities announced that they arrested a South Korean spy. Kim's families and friends retorted North Korea's claim, saying that he is a missionary.
우리 정부에서 신분 밝히기만을 이제 기다리는 그런 소극적인 태도에서 이제 벗어나서 판문점 핫라인을 통해서 계속 요청을 해야 됩니다.
Seoul says that Pyongyang should first reveal the name and other personal information of the detainee. However, more and more people are urging the South Korean government to be proactive in working for the release of the missionary, given that the North has a tendency to drag on the detention of those captured.
On Korea State College entrance exam, every point matters. That's why even one contested question is a big deal. There was such a question on this year's test, and students demand clarification.
Controversy shrouds question 8 of the world geography portion of this year's college entrance exam. The question compares NAFTA with the EU. The answer is C, which says that the EU gross production is greater than that of NAFTA. However, exam takers insist that C is the correct answer.
EU가 금융이기 때문에 총생산액이 많이 떨어졌다는 보도를 본 애들도 많았고 이것을 틀린 선지라고 생각을 해서.
In reality, data show that NAFTA's gross production has been greater than that of the EU's since 2010. But the Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation says it talked to experts and concluded that there was nothing wrong with the question.
교과서에는 명백하게 책이 두 권이 있는데 최대 경제권이라고 분명히 명시가 돼 있어요.
Exam takers are demanding the institute give an answer based on the current global economic context and not on a textbook written 2 years ago. 28,000 people took the world geography test for the college entrance exam. This one question was worth 3 points and could even determine a student's fate in getting into a university.
In the wake of controversy surrounding the subpar restoration of Sungnaemun, police are investigating renowned traditional painter Hong Chang-won for his involvement in the project.
Dancheong master Hong Chang-won has worked on a number of major palaces and Buddhist temples in Korea, including Gyeonghae-ru Pavilion in Gyeongbok Palace. Nationally recognized as one of the best artists, Hong was also in charge of the decorative painting job for Sungnaemun. But the master Dancheong painter is being questioned by the police. He's accused of receiving tens of thousands of dollars in return for lending his certificate to a construction company. The police suspects the builder took part in the bids for cultural asset restorations with the certificate borrowed from Hong. The construction company is known to have participated in the Sungnaemun restoration project currently under fire for poor work quality. The police said that there is evidence that Hong rarely appeared for work, even though his name was listed in July as an employee of the said builder. Hong claimed that the amount of money was for his consulting fee, not a payment to use his name.
통정서 같은 데서도 자문을 해주면은 또 거기서도 그 업체에서 또 자문수당을 붙여주고 저는 분명한 것은 대우는 아닌데 이걸.
Investigators plan to question Hong again to probe deeper into how he came to receive the money.
More and more Koreans who emigrated to the United States years ago are returning to their homeland in their old age. Local governments are welcoming them home.
This is Koreantown in Los Angeles. 26 years ago, Lee Sung-gu came to the United States penniless, but now runs an apparel company with 40 employees. But he's decided to spend the rest of his life in Korea.
와서 살다 보니까 이게 아니구나 하는 걸 느껴요. 어떤 면에서 그러냐면은 우선 언어가 안 통하잖아요. 그리고 문화가 너무 많이 차이가 나요.
Local governments have hosted presentations on residential areas set up to help returnees like Mr. Lee settle down in Korea. About 1,000 Korean Americans, mainly of older age, have already signed up. Another key factor for their decision to return is that they don't have to worry about the high medical costs in America since they are eligible for Korea's National Medical Insurance Plan. In order to boost local economies, regional governments are eager to attract the returnees and encourage financially capable overseas Koreans to invest in domestic projects.
해외 동포가 700만 명, 보유하고 있는 자산은 2,000조 원으로 추산하고 있습니다.
With Korea's rise in the international arena, expats living in the U.S. are seeing the merits of returning to the homeland.
A tight labor market has become the source of generational conflict between people in their 20s and 30s and those in their 50s and 60s. Let's take a look at what puts the two age groups at odds.
College student Woo Sang-jun's day is hectic. He has classes to attend and part-time jobs to do. But he's not sure if he can land a job after graduation. He thinks the government's efforts to guarantee jobs for people in their 50s and 60s are unfair. Kim Sang-bae has only 1 year left until his retirement. These days, he's studying to obtain a real estate license. He has to pay off his children's school loans. He also needs to make financial preparations for his son's marriage. Foreign studies conducted in the 1980s and 1990s show that youth unemployment is not related with an extension of the retirement age for people in their 50s and 60s. In Korea, the elderly rarely work as professional or office workers, and the younger generation shows no interest in farming, fishing, or other manual jobs. There's no reason to think that the seniors are threatening the share of jobs available to their younger counterparts in the labor market. In part, discussions stressing the costs of welfare programs have been fanning the dissatisfaction among the younger generation.
국가 재정 부담론을 너무 강조하다 보면 필요 이상으로 당연히 복지의 축소가 나타나게 됩니다. 개인과 가족이 책임져야 될 부분이 너무 커져서 사회가 전체적으로 불균형해지고
The argument about a generational conflict can let the government and employers get away without presenting effective measures to boost employment. There's greater need for cooperation and discussions to resolve the problem of the nation's sluggish employment.
Oyster prices plunged last year on radiation fears and other factors, but this year oysters caught in waters off Korea's southern coast are in high demand thanks to their high quality and safety.
Excitement is in the air at an oyster auction. Brokers are busy bargaining to get the highest quality at the cheapest costs. Fresh oysters are once again becoming popular, driving up prices. At the first auction of the year held last month, a kilogram of oysters was sold for $5.10, but this week the price surged 60%. 120 tons are being shipped each day, but it's not enough to meet the demand. Despite increasing fears over radiation from Japan, the demand for oysters has soared after the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute announced last month that they were safe for consumption.
70-80%가 수출이니까 그리고 뭐 우리나라에서 자체적으로 자연산 생물이 이제 나오니까 뭐 그런 큰 영향은 없는 것 같습니다.
Consumers also trust the quality and safety of oysters caught in the waters off the nation's southern coast.
김장도 하고 국도 끓이고 전도 부치고 회도 하고 방금 식당에서 먹고 왔는데 쓸 데가 많아요.
Oyster farms are seeing their second heyday after an extended period of stagnation.
The 1970s superstars Song Chang-sik, Lee Jang-hee, and Choi Baek-ho are back in the spotlight, hosting an ensemble concert. This and more in today's entertainment news.
First-generation Korean folk singers Lee Jang-hee and Song Chang-sik, as well as veteran singers Choi Baek-ho and Han Young-ae, have held a joint concert at the Sejong Center for the Performing Arts. Called Romantic Concert, Four People, Four Colors, the show was hosted by DJ Kim Kwang-han and featured guitarist Ham Chun-ho. The singers performed the biggest hits of the 70s and 80s.
그때 뭐 중고등학교, 대학교 시절에 들었던 노래가 늘 제가 마음속에 있고 어디 가서 그게 나오면 귀가 솔깃하고 그 노래는 다 그때로 나를 돌려주거든요.
A court has ruled that the late actress Jang Ja-yeon's suicide note, in which she wrote about how she was forced to have sex with entertainment executives, cannot be viewed as forged. The Seoul Central District Court has dismissed the compensation demand filed by the late actress's CEO over defamation caused by her manager, who was the one to disclose the notes claiming that Jang was forced to entertain executives. The judges said that it's hard to conclude that the notes were handwritten by Jang's manager.
As the yearly kimchi-making ritual approaches, fermented shrimp sauce prices are on the rise. Shrimp sauce being an integral ingredient in the mix, here's the lowdown on what to look for. Temperatures have plunged this November. Now is the time for Korea's annual kimchi-making ritual, kimjang. The yearly event requires careful planning when it comes to ingredients and timing. One essential ingredient for great-tasting kimchi is fermented shrimp sauce. The best for kimchi is the local produced variety in which tiny shrimp are freshly caught and salted right on the ship. It's not pungent, it has a rather mild taste. But it's still not easy to choose the perfect shrimp sauce.
위생 문제면 어디서 다 들여온 건지 그게 제일 걱정이 되고.
Food safety is a key concern for homemakers. Shrimp sauce helps in the kimchi fermentation process and adds flavor and a refreshing aftertaste. What do you have to look for in a shrimp sauce? The smell shouldn't be too fishy. The sauce should be milky and the shrimp bright pink.
흰 바탕에요. 붉은색이 조금씩 섞여 있는 것이 가장 좋습니다. 우리가 육안으로 보아서 굉장히 통통한 것이 좋은데요. 이렇게 먹어봤을 때 너무 짜지 않는 것이 아주 좋은 새우젓이다라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
Gwangcheon Market in Hongseong is one of the three major shrimp sauce markets in Korea, together with Ganghwa in Incheon and Gangbyung in Nonsan. The market is packed with people shopping for the best shrimp sauce for their kimchi. They easily part with their cash when they encounter the freshest shrimp sauce.
맛있어요, 맛없어요? 굉장히 맛있어요.
The secret to Gwangcheon's shrimp sauce can be found in this tunnel. As you enter the dark underground passage, you're hit with the strong smell of fermented shrimp. Countless drum containers and urns are kept inside this cave. This village alone has roughly 40 such caves.
The drum cans contain various types of shrimp sauce. About 2,500 tons of shrimp sauce are sold all over the country every year. This cave used to be a mine. In the old days, before refrigerators, people kept their shrimp sauce inside the mine and found that it provided the perfect conditions for fermentation. Since then, villagers have been storing their shrimp sauces here.
토굴의 온도는 섭씨 13도씨에서 15도씨에 그리고 습도 85%를 유지하고 있기 때문에 새우젓이 숙성하기에는 최적의 온도를 가지고 있습니다. 새우젓 종류는 육젓, 오젓, 추젓, 동백화젓, 군쟁이젓 여러 종류가 있는데 육젓, 오젓, 추젓 이 세 가지만 하시면 김장하시는데 아무 문제가 없을 겁니다.
The names of the shrimp sauces for kimjang are based on when the shrimp were caught. Yugjut is made with the shrimp caught in the lunar month of June. It's considered the best because the shrimps are meaty and sweet. But Ojut, so named because the shrimp are caught in May, is known for smaller and thinner shrimp. Chujut uses shrimp caught in the lunar month of August. They're even smaller and softer than Ojut, but they're the most sought after for kimjang because they're less salty and cheaper. The secret to great tasting kimjang kimchi is the fermented shrimp sauce you use. So if you ever get the chance to make kimchi of your own, remember the shrimp sauce you put in.
Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Have a great day.